With that, I'd like to introduce to you some folks that I've selected from our community. Melinda Beuf, pull up a chair, go up on stage. You can leave your purse. I won't steal it, I promise. Melinda is with Ulster County Development Corporation and plays a vital role in economic development here in the Hudson Valley. Kristen, come on down. Kristen works with the Hudson Valley Technology Development Center in Fishkill, and Kristen is very involved and devotes almost her entire working life towards greening companies, green development, a whole different aspect of economic development. John Lonczak is president of a company called Phi-d, if I said that correctly. Phi, I screwed it up the first time. It's okay. John is involved in marketing, branding, development, a whole way to support from an infrastructure perspective on what's going on. And if Jeremy's around, or Jeremy, you going to come out? There he comes. He's coming. Jeremy Ellenbogen is CEO, president of 721, the building that we're in, and comes from a very different perspective. Not only how to brand companies, not only how to promote economic development, not only how to entertain green companies in development, but how to get them progress, how to get them involved in the digital media, in the digital age that Andrea spoke of and that Marcy spoke of, and everyone is agreed needs to happen. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to take the microphone and I'm going to hand it to Melinda. And I'm going to just start off by asking a couple of questions of the panel, and feel free to just pass the microphone back and forth. There's no formal order. And then I want to open it up for discussion. This is about you. This is about your businesses, our community, and how we're going to grow. Melinda, here in Ulster County, there's a lot of different types of development going on, a lot of growth. Where do you see it? How are you getting it? What's working? And you got to talk into the microphone.
I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
I actually see it in manufacturing, the growth in manufacturing.
Okay. Manufacturing was a stalwart here in Ulster County for a long time.
It was, and it still is. That the areas we have some strong manufacturers like Wolftech, Stavo Industries, FTS, Millrock Technologies, and a lot of these companies are using this period of economic downsize to as an opportunity for expansion and to look for opportunities.
Where are the markets?
A lot of the markets are not here. They're elsewhere. They're global. A lot of I work with a lot of these companies, so I'm confident. I'm conscious of being confidential about their business plans. So, but I know that in one company, less than 5% of their market is in Ulster County. It's elsewhere.
Is it domestic? Is it international?
It's international. Some companies are only domestic. For example, Salux is mostly U.S., some Canada, some South America. But we tend to work with manufacturers a lot because they have the highest multiplier of any industry. So for every dollar that is invested, there's a potential for $5 return because essentially the money is coming in from elsewhere. So they're drawing money into the county.
So it becomes a business retention and a way to attract new business at the same time.
Exactly. If you can grow a manufacturer, you can grow an industry, a cluster around it. They'll need, metal fabricators. They'll need ancillary businesses, and so that will increase job growth as well. Another reason for working with manufacturers is, as a relatively small entity, we have to be focused on where we put our energies, because there are at least 5,000 businesses in Ulster County, and if I spent equal time on those five, I would spend 40 minutes on a year for each of those businesses. So our focus tends to be the larger employers. That being said, we do try to assist everybody who comes to our door, whether it's trying to point them at a business service that will aid them, or at least getting them on our radar so that if they do grow or they need help with expansion, that we know who they are, and we've had some touch there.
Without putting you on the spot, because
Yep.
this is not a political discussion,
Okay.
but everyone knows New York State has been under siege
Yep.
financially. IDAs have been under
Yep.
siege.
Yep.
New York State,
Empire zones are gone.
empire zones are gone. Attracting business. What works?
Well, I'm the director of retention.
I knew that.
New York, it is difficult. We are out there as the 49th highest tax state in the U.S. We do have some benefit. We do have water. So, for example, we have a Japanese mushroom company that's coming into Sullivan County, or Orange County, near Wurtsboro, and the reason they've located here is because we have water. The Northeast has water. That's why to come to New York. There's a Greek company that came recently, Phi-d. It's a yogurt company, and it came to I think it's Binghamton where they are. It's a $100 million investment. They came because of tax incentives that New York State offered to them, and the local IDA offered to them. So the only way that we can the way that we can attract is through our natural resources. We are also we have the best public college system in the States, so we have a highly educated workforce. We do have a number of headquarters here, and that's the way we work to attract businesses.
Kristen, green business. If there's a word, if there's a phrase, which is on the top 10 words that shouldn't be used, it's green. But we like it or not, green is here to stay. Everybody wants to green their business. Why would somebody want to green their business?
Well, I guess...
And what's the definition, if you can find one someplace?
To me, greening your business is about becoming and making your company environmentally and socially aware of what's happening and showing that your company cares about the environment and your employees. And that can come in many ways depending on what type of company you are. So I want to make sure I hit your first question. What was your first question again? Why would a company do it?
Yeah.
So, as far as coming in many different ways, it may be making sure you have energy efficient lighting on a simple basis. But if you're producing a product that is sourcing its supplies from many different countries that it could source in the United States that's a little bit closer, or if you're producing a product that basically has the cradle to grave process as opposed to a cradle to cradle, where your product ends up in a landfill, that's another opportunity for your company. So being environmentally conscious, like I said, depends on what your company does. And then why would a company do it? Well, aside from just the feel-good piece of it, you could make changes that are saving you money because you're saving electricity.
So it's bottom line.
Bottom line, for sure. Saving on your water, because now you're possibly recycling your water and not dumping everything down into the ground, and so that you can save there. You could possibly save on your landfill because you've decided you can, or you figured out a way to recycle some of your products, or another company will take them, so you're not adding to the landfill, and therefore you're decreasing your cost of your landfill, of your waste disposal.
Are people listening?
Are people as in companies or people as in
Companies.
consumers?
Companies.
Are they listening? I think companies for a long while have felt that making changes, they know it's the right thing to do. I think because of the recession, they were a little reluctant to do it because they just wanted to survive. And so they're looking for ways to keep their company afloat. I would also say, though, that right now, companies are starting to now act on that, and they feel, all right, now is the right time to start moving forward on this because they do see the potential, not only from what they can do for their company, what they can do for their employees, but also what they can do for a marketing side of it.
John, what do you think? Are businesses listening? Are businesses reacting to a new socioeconomic climate? Are they marketing differently? Are they promoting themselves, branding themselves differently than was before? What do you see?
Well, first off, just to follow up on the green thing, green is green, and businesses are making changes that are going to save them money or allow them to use their money differently. From a branding standpoint, I don't see drastic changes given the economy with how people are presenting their brands, but I think I see new brands developing and a certain directness and honesty in communication. People aren't over-promising. They're basically supporting their brand better because that's about all they can do. The other thing I see going on is that companies are investing in new product development because that's their only opportunity for growth. Essentially, over the last 15, 20 years, these companies were maximizing profits by scaling back. And in part of that scaling back, they've lost their product development cycle. So now I think they're a little bit gearing up. I mean, everyone I know in product development is busier today than they were a year ago.
And that's amazing to a lot of people. That whole cycle has begun an upturn.
Well, I think cycle is key here. Everyone, depending wherever you are in your business or type of business or industry or your service, is on a different part of that cycle. And some people are feeling the brunt of the economy right now, but a year ago they weren't so bad. Other people who were feeling it really bad a year or 2 or 3 years ago are kind of at a different end of the cycle. So I think that the folks who are still standing are in a great spot. And there's never been a better time, in my opinion, to be developing new products because you can't put money into manufacturing or selling them because the market isn't there. But if you can develop the product now that people are going to be willing to part with their money for, then I think you have something. And that's where the opportunity is. I think, over the last 10 years, the economy was fueled somewhat artificially by scaling back. And perhaps there was fat in a lot of companies. But I think the way out of the economy, the economic situation, is to provide products and services that people want and will be willing to part with their money for.
Not putting you on the spot, but how much of your business is local? Regional? Let's keep it regional.
I would say today a large part of it is.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so. Although I've shifted my own market. I used to work with larger international companies, and I've been focusing on smaller companies from startups to $50 million a year companies. And the reason I did that was I changed my business, and I couldn't support those larger projects. There was lots of competition for those larger projects, those larger companies, and oddly enough, the dollar volume was decreasing.
So it's a leaner, meaner organization.
Yeah. I think everyone has to, just like you have to do at home, you have to do less, you have to do more with less. And
Yes, you do.
that's a good one for
Thank
you. I'll give that one to you.
Jeremy, you've been involved in digital media, new media, with both large companies, small companies, national companies, international. How do you see your business developing? This place is just growing leaps and bounds. Why?
Well, I'm going to answer, kind of piggyback off what John was saying too about, he had a large company. We were talking earlier this morning, all these employees and serving a big market, and you're looking at your profits dwindling and your payroll going up, and you're like, why am I doing this? So I think what's happening is you're getting a lot of companies that are they're downsizing, but they're working a lot more with networks and working together in collaboration. So I think that's a really important thing. That's where we come in here at the Media Center. So the importance is really to focus on what you're really best at. My expertise is really in video production. I don't claim to be any web developer or any super designer, but we collaborate with people who know every area of the media business, and we basically go in together as, all these little boutique companies knowing the best, being the best that they can do at that one specific area. So rather than having a large staff, you can operate much smaller and much more agile and work with boutique little companies. In this case, it's in here, a lot of them are here in the building, but doesn't have to be. It could be run, on a series of networks. And you have to collaborate with people because you got to focus on your core strengths. That's absolutely key as far as I'm concerned.
So what we spoke about during the presentation before, organization, the structure, exactly what John said. Leaning your organization, being agile, being able to turn on a dime, being able to address green companies and able to address their needs specifically, and being flexible enough to move within that environment. And at the same time, economic development is moving in that same kind of a course. You've got to change your focus depending on your market, which is very different than business was a number of years ago, where you stayed static within a market. This is what we do, and this is all we do. Can't do that anymore, can you?
No. I wanted to talk a little bit, when Melinda was talking about, large companies growing, and I think that's great. I know firsthand, I work with Tech City on a lot of projects and help them get to where they are just in the past year and a half. And that totally works together, where you have complementary businesses working together. You have a person that can supply raw materials within the same campus or in the same region, and it keeps your costs down, shipping costs. Plus, there's an accountability. You can walk across the street and say, "Hey, where's my raw materials?" And it, it makes you, it's a whole partnership. So you have the end product, but then there's all the raw materials and services that are corresponding that all have to work together. But I do think the area of growth is going to be in very small startups, entrepreneurs, service companies, and we really need to support those as much as we can, because that's where a lot of the innovation is going to come from. And I know you're doing that less with whether it's a business incubator or just budding companies starting up. I think that you're seeing that happen a lot more. I think a lot of it's caused by the fact that some people, especially you were mentioning about the two sectors, 55 to 64, you said. I think that age group, they're just having trouble finding jobs if they've been laid off. And what better thing to do is start your own company. And I think, right, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
They don't want to collect unemployment.
It's
you
necessity.
can, and you're not ready to retire at 55 or 60. So you start your own company, and everybody has to support those people, I believe, because that's a lot of innovation is going to come from that area.
Melinda, you're seeing a lot of, I won't call it advanced age people coming. How do I say that? Come on, what's a good term for?
Hey, I just got my ARP
for me?
card.
It's not a senior. Seasoned. Are you seeing seasoned people coming into the area?
coming in, again, I've
From a
worked with the
business
retention,
perspective, right.
retention guys. So, and I don't work that much with startups. When people do come in, and the people who do come in who are startup, and I do see it all age ranges, but I think I do see probably more in my generation coming in.
We're seasoned.
But the way we work is essentially we're kind of further along your process when you want to get to us for a startup. So we'll send you to places like the Small Business Development Center to work on your business plan, or depending on what area you are. Like if you're in agricultural, we'll send you to the Hudson Valley Agribusiness Corporation. We'll look at sort of where you want to be and trying to help you find the resources. But we don't work so much with small startups. Again, because our mission is to create good jobs. I mean, and a good job is defined as one that's above the lower medium income, which is about $39,500 salary. So we'll be looking. If you come in and say, I've got this experience. I've been 25 years been doing this, and I'm starting a business, and I'm going to hire 25 people tomorrow. We'd probably work with you, but that's kind of rare. Usually, when you come in, like 1 to 5 people are going to start. So we try to send you to the places that can help incubate or accelerate you.
Kristen, are you seeing people who are seasoned as interested in green, as interested in being ergonomically, environmentally conscious as you are with your generation? Not as seasoned?
I have to say.
5 minutes, we'll bring them on.
I guess that's a little hard to answer, only because, working with a company, it's more about what the company is looking for, what the company goals are, as opposed to the individual that's inside the company. I guess I'll say, out and about on the streets.
Let me
yeah, I
change
think
the
there's.
question. I'm going to change the question midstream.
Okay.
Social conscience. Social conscience. What's your target? Who do you see? How are they responding? Is it younger? Is it older? Is it across the board? Who's got the social conscience to want to change, to want to do green, to want to be more environmentally sensitive, reducing our carbon footprint? Who does it matter to the most?
Yeah, and that's somewhat where I was going. I guess it can be any age range, because it depends on kind of what their goals and convictions were kind of growing up. And so I've seen, regardless of the age, it's more dependent on what their background is, what their passions are. If it's someone who's always liked to hike and go outdoors, they have more of an inclination towards making a lifestyle change to make sure everything in their life is fitting that and protecting the environment. If it's a young person who's looking to get a great job and make a lot of money and buy sports cars, they have less of an inclination to care about the environment because they have different goals. Did that answer your question? Do you have?
It's kind of an easy question for a lot of the companies I work for. It's about operational efficiency, and being green a lot of times is about operational efficiency, so it's a no-brainer. So it doesn't matter what your political, social consciousness is. It's making your business more productive and profitable.
Bottom line. John, you see the same thing?
Yeah, I think basically I think most people want and feel the same things, and there may be various degrees in terms of their acceptance of green or change in their lifestyle, but I don't see anyone being not interested in being a little bit greener, if it's from an economic standpoint or from some other standpoint. I think everyone has the same interest. I don't think people want, and I think as a rule we've been sold on it already. What hasn't happened is the product and the services aren't able to deliver on the goods yet.
You run into my next point.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, here we are in the Hudson Valley. We got a state that's essentially totally dysfunctional, out of money. We got a federal government, this is not a political statement, that really doesn't support small business. How do we grow? How do we do this as a community? Jeff, how do you do it? Hey, you got talking to the ear.
Well, I think a lot of it is, what was already mentioned, a lot of it is collaboration. Finding those businesses that you can work with. The outsourcing piece of it, I think, is important. And I think a lot of it is going to be political. Even though it's not a political statement, I think we need to be aware of how important small business is and the impact that our leadership has had on that.
Okay. Well, I was coming to you next anyway. John's in the PR business. John sees it every day.
Thanks, Les. You know, this is something that a few of us have been talking about recently, about increasing our employment, increasing our small business health. And I think there's focus that we've had institutionally in the past. And Melinda was saying, look at employment. Well, employment, I just looked at the numbers, has gone down 25% in 10 years in Ulster County. Manufacturing employment has gone down. Total employment's gone up about 6% in 10 years. I'm thinking that the spectrum should be more where Jeremy's coming from, and several of us have been talking about that, and that's networking. That's people who are in the micro businesses, which make up most of our employment, at least in Ulster County, if not a lot in the Hudson Valley. What if we started networking and supporting one another? What if we started supporting using the businesses that are here and beyond here, in markets that are beyond here? Some of the people have been talking with the folks at 33 Delivered. I know you've met those, Jeremy, which has taken over.
Right now with them.
You're working with them now, right, and we are too. And it's really about bringing together the talent that's here and serving national and international businesses. Talking with Rick Dragon, who he had sold Oxclove Workshop to 33 Delivered and is now on Dragon Search Marketing. And we were talking the other day, what if we were just to become one big networking county, business to business, supporting one another, supporting business, getting Jeff Mel's business out there so people knew you could get. If you're a little startup, you can have an assistant who's not in your office, answering your phone, and so forth and so forth. The kinds of things you've been doing, Les, with HVCFI. That's my thought.
It's valid. Anybody else? You might as well raise your hand before I pick on you. So, Phil, go ahead.
Where's the marketing? You have all the network together, you have all the industries. Where's the marketing? Advertising is not marketing. Where is the market? You're looking over on the other parts of the world to sell your product, to make a few jobs. Where is the marketing to build an economy? We need a commitment. The evil thing about the evil government, we need a commitment, A, declare us a pesticide-free zone. I guarantee you, walk any block in the United States and discuss pesticides, everyone, businesses included, except for the few, would welcome green industries. Our dairy farms are closing. Our individual farms are closing. There is $1 trillion market in green industries. Want to bring healthcare costs down? Excuse me. They are sickness costs, not health care. Sickness is so common, it's being referred to as health care. A pesticide-free green built economy creates a true WPA. In other words, convert our farms, dairy farms, livestock farms to organic. All the industries are here, the minds are here. The brain cells are lost in the canyon between the right and left portal. We need marketing. It cannot come about without a commitment from our municipalities. Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Les?
Go ahead, John.
I guess the revolution won't be televised. I think that you make some good points, but I don't think we should expect government to be doing these things for us. We are the true capitalists.
Microphone. No, just talk into it.
Sorry.
There you go.
I think this group, the entrepreneurs, are the true capitalists. The reason the pesticides are there and some of these industries you're talking about are there is because they have the money to have the voice to the politicians, and the politicians may not know too much more than that. And essentially, these big businesses are sort of indirectly or somewhat subsidized by cooperation. I think that the startup is the most exciting thing. I think there's green business. You make a good point. The market is there. We just need to deliver. And look, large companies have a hard time doing new and novel things. Microsoft is successful because they acquire small companies that develop products. They aren't necessarily developing them themselves. The infrastructure is too large to create that kind of atmosphere. And many of these businesses that are here are going to be developed in a few years and sold to larger corporations. I think things are moving in the right direction, but to expect government handout for what we're doing is kind of silly. Yes, you'd like some more support, and I think it's getting there. But I think people like us are making the difference, and it's going to take some time.
I'm going to change it. I'm not discounting it all. I think what we need to do is focus on not just government, but business. And this is about business. This is about how we advance our companies. Steve, did you have a comment?
Just a comment. I'm kind of a transplant. Like Todd, who spent a lot of time in California. I grew up there. So part of the question is, and I'm not a native to this area, but you could take a look at what were the prerequisites that enabled Silicon Valley to explode, and why is it that Hudson Valley, that has, in a sense, a similar university system, right? A similar proximity to a major metropolitan area, New York City, a tremendous growth in educated population and nearby, and a wonderful place actually to live. I mean, it's colder than Palo Alto, but when I grew up, San Jose and Milpitas and Palo Alto was farmland. And what was it that enabled Silicon Valley to explode? What are the barriers that are here that are preventing Hudson Valley from similarly not exploding out of control, but growing in a manageable fashion that the people in this room have been talking about for a while? And are there some historical parallels that can be transplanted? I don't know enough personally about the Hudson Valley area, but there are a lot of prerequisites that exist here. What would it take to be able to have Hudson Valley be a lot more like Silicon Valley and have that be, in a way, Silicon Valley East? It doesn't need to be Bangalore, right, or Shanghai or Chengdu, all cities in which I've worked or been in some place. There are things that can happen here in Hudson Valley. So what needs to happen to bring that about?
Well, I don't know if the panel is on. I'll come back right back to you. I'm going to generalize for a second. We've been discussing for, 5 years, give or take a couple of months, the regionalization of what we all do here. That it's not one county against another county, it's not one place against another place, but to be agnostic and to be thinking in a different direction about making the Hudson Valley a place, a Hudson Valley, like a Silicon Valley. I don't know if anybody knows the counties that are in Silicon Valley. There are several places in Silicon Valley that comprise what is Silicon Valley, as there are here. We have the infrastructure, we have the academics, we have the workforce, we have the will, we have the major media center in the world and financial center in the world just to our south. We have one of the most sophisticated nanotechnology development facilities in the world to our north. We've got the brains, we have the means. Now it becomes incumbent on us, just as John said, to kind of congeal a lot of this energy and make this into a very unified effort, not focused on one place or one county or one thing or one company or one technology over another, but to do this together. We have all the ingredients. Brian, did you need to talk into the ear?
Thanks, just real quick. My background has been in business, it has been in politics, it's been in the entertainment industry. And the one thing that is a continuum across that is when someone has a great idea and they work at it, they come alive with it. And it's so exciting to see that happen, to see business innovation, to see people take their ideas and just work at them. So I would say that this forum is one of the better things that we can do in this area and in the country, is to keep reminding ourselves that what made this country great is innovation and the individual, not necessarily the collective, that really fights for that different product and everything else. So what would be exciting to see, of course, is something like that really take root in Greece. I think you probably would see an explosion of great things happening.
Great. With that, we're online? We're on Skype? I don't see anything. I see a blue screen. Let's get the technical whizzes up here, and we're going to re-engage. Is that correct? There he is. All right. It's yours, kid.
Okay, I think this is business all about. I would like to welcome a friend and colleague from Greece, Evangelos Achillopoulos. Evangelos is the Chief Technical Officer of, hello Evangelis. We have voice also, very good. The Motion FX SA, he's from the broadcast media industry. He's a specialist 6 years now in film and digital intermediate services, establishing a growing network of partners in Israel, Egypt, Cyprus, Belgium, Portugal, New York, Netherlands, and offers film recording services and color management services. So if anyone you're interested for services, to do some business also. Develop products sample, because he's also an inventor. Develop a lens adapter for use on 35mm lenses, and developed a portable disc recorder and DIT workstation in 2010. Also, as I told you at the beginning of our breakfast, Vangelis worked the last 10 months on a research about the inventiveness that we're lacking in Greece and in Europe in general. As I told you, in Greece last year we had only 18 patents submitted in Greece. So we try to change the political thinking of our leaders, the government, to support the inventors, the people that they have a patent that can be international patent, to be all over the world, because this is a very important advantage, not just for the inventor itself, but for the country in general. So Vangelis.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say hello to everyone from Athens. Here is nice weather, it's 32, 33 degrees Celsius. And regarding the inventiveness, by trying to pitch the inventiveness in the Greek politicians and understand them, and make them understand better, I read a little bit about the American Constitution that includes the protection of inventiveness since 1786, when it was first written from the founding fathers. So yes, in Greece we have very, very few patents, It's actually can be counted in two hands. So on one hand, that is bad. On the other hand, if you see the bright side of it, is that all of them are very, very, very good patents because people doesn't have the luxury to be able to apply for many. So we have few, but they're very good. Regarding what I do now, what Andrea was saying, and to bridge a little bit of what you were discussing regarding the evolution and how you're going to penetrate in the international markets, I believe what helped me, my business, my service business, to exploit was the social media and the internet and the forums. Because more and more people is getting there, it's very easy to find a niche where you can easily reach people that are having a need, and you can easily be the one that can cover it and reach them actually, and create a small network. That was working, it's working for me, and it's working very well. I'm not in a business that is booming. Actually, I'm in a business that is blooming, is going down, because I'm doing field recording. Field, I think, in a few years will be vanished. There is an opportunity for me for a certain time frame, time window, that will allow to gain some funds and be able to do what I really do. This is the pattern that I have, and try to exploit, to make some kind of startup with this pattern and deliver the product. That actually has been copied around the country in many locations. My story starts from 2000 almost, when I started the company that invented the product, and I was with 30 people as employees. Today I'm just me and a guy, that's it. But back then, to having 30 people running 5 or 4 projects, we were doing virtual sets. We were doing disc recording for cinema use. Actually, we were pioneers on that. Something happened, and one of my main shareholders backed, and my business went down. The pity was that at this point we were having a green light from a venture capital firm in Athens that was found they wanted to invest $2.5 million in us, and they had found a buyer for our company in 3 years that was in UK. Another venture capital firm that was wanted to buy us because of the technology that we had. This didn't ever be done because when we were talking and we got the green light and we were about to go further, the shareholder has backed and we fell down. Since then, I'm trying to put my head up. The good thing is that my inventiveness and my entrepreneurship spirit has led me to stand on the end, open my wings and fly again, and be able to make money and go forward. Now I'm on a point that I'm working with this service that I have. I'm trying to find funds to make a startup happen. And at the same time, I'm working with Andreas and other guys from Athens to create a system that will allow small business to start easily. Because in Greece there is a big problem to find a seed and startup capital that is getting difficult, as I see from various researchers that we read. US also.
Vangeli, I was telling in the morning that in Greece actually we have no risk capital, so the venture capital, like in your case, they try to go only in mature companies.
Yeah.
And in comparison with the States, we have zero business angel network. So the private equity sector is not developed in Greece. However, things are difficult here, even if they have much more experience in entrepreneurial initiatives. The current government, and it's less explained as before in the morning, they do not support small and micro businesses. They do not support so much startup, and they try now to find ways how the Hudson Valley, the area that we are here right now, can be a Silicon Valley, let's say, because we are very close to New York City. So they have many advantages to do that.
The problem, as I see it, from a business philosopher's stand of view, let's say, or point of view, is the financialization of the markets.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is turning to financial instruments, complex financial instruments, as the guys from Goldman Sachs saying, and more and more equity managers and all these investment banks are dealing with pure financial stuff, and they don't want to invest in businesses because businesses are difficult to run. It's, you have to pay attention with things that are running in a day-by-day basis, and this is very difficult for them. So this financialization, let's say, is plunging the venture capital and generally the capital flows to the small business.
Evangelos, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are they truly businesses, or are they technologies or ideas?
Can you repeat the question?
Are they truly businesses at this point, or are they ideas, inventions, and concepts?
Existed in the market, or the entrepreneurs are having?
The small entrepreneur business development market, if you will. Are they new ideas looking to be funded, or are they really companies?
It's a mixture. As I say to our politicians here, it's extremely difficult to judge an idea or to judge a business venture. There is a mix. There are either companies that are startups, they have ideas, not companies, person, individual, that they have ideas that they want to turn them to companies and be entrepreneurs and try to exploit their ideas. And there are some critical mass, a big mass of businesses that are quite small, 3 to 5 persons, that are trying to find funds to exploit the business that they already have. So yes, it's both. It's ideas and companies that they want.
Just to help you lessen the question, what Vangelis and the team try to say to the government is that the grants that they will support the entrepreneurship in the future, they must be very well filtered, because not all the ideas can lead to a successful business. So first priority are the businesses that they may have a patent, because it's a very strong competitive advantage, especially if it is triadic patent. We don't even talk about that. And then slowly to exist a mechanism to filter which ideas finally can get money to be viable businesses. Because if my business grows with 10% per year and Vangelis or someone else grows with 40%, they have to get the grant, not myself. Because in 2 years, most probably, I will not have a business, and it is a problem for the market in general. So that's the
Understood.
general idea.
I have one more question. Your English is wonderful. Okay?
Not perfect.
Not perfect, neither is mine. And I also noted from your CV that you're doing a lot of business internationally. And so there's 2 questions I have. Number one is, what inspired you to go international as opposed to local? And number two, how can we collaborate with you here on products, inventions, services that you may have, that you can begin to find new markets and we can begin to find new markets for our products and services as well?
I'm thinking that I already have a client, I already have a partner in New York. It's a small studio in Manhattan. And I'm trying to go forward by finding partners through the internet, through the forums. Now, what you can do to assist me, or me assisting you, other guys to come in Greece and sell. To this point, I have something that is more selfish, let's say, because a business is a selfish is a selfish entity, because it tries to make big. It has competition, so it's difficult. You're either searching for partners that are going to be business partners in terms to sell your product or your service, or you are going to collaborate with someone that is already doing something that your product needs in order to collaborate. The other way is to use investments, money, capital. I believe the part of capital, the part of sharing technology is the one that can work. The growth of the network in order to resell products in my country or in another country, it depends on the objectives that they have, the two parties. And this is something not easy. It's a chemistry. So why I did think globally first? Because I think that either think globally or die locally. So Greece is a very small market. So if you don't think globally, then immediately you have a problem, because the market is very small and very, very difficult. If all the entrepreneurs that are on the room or outside of the room are thinking globally and think what they have as an idea, as a product, as a service, whatever they have, if they think of it globally, then immediately they will gain market share and they will gain earn money and evolve. The thing is that you must not look things in one point. You have to have open mind and see everything as a global game. So, if I answered the question?
You did.
Last week, Les, we had with Vangelis a meeting. Actually, I was doing Skype with them in Greece, with the first community of 20 young entrepreneurs that they want to make between them a peer-to-peer support. Because as I told you, there's no private equity. So they said, we all of us invest money for the next good idea between us that it's worth it to give money, either for seed capital or, if it is already mature, for startup financing. And we try to increase that, because if we expect the governments, if we expect the venture capital, it will not be any more young entrepreneurs.
Right. Thank you very much for coming on this morning. It's been great, and I hope that
Thank you very much, Vangelis.
when you come to New York, you'll come visit us.
Vangelis, they ask you, what is your website?
The website is it's on development right now, but it's motionfx.gr.
Okay.
The
Motionfx.gr.
letter F and the letter X.gr.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Have a good afternoon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well.